Hello, and welcome to the first Book of Refugees podcast, a podcast by the Department of Language and Linguistic Science at the University of York. My name is Hugh, and I'm a project leader for the Book of Refugees and a technical supervisor in the department. And I'll be your host for today. For this, our first episode, I'm joined by my colleague Dr. Ahmed Khalil, founder of the Book of Refugees project and lecturer in Arabic language, literature and culture in the department. So, Ahmed, would you like to give a background to the project, please?
Oh, hello, Hugh. Good afternoon. Well, it's a pleasure here to be with you. So the project, the Book of Refugees, is a project that is, founded by the need for it. Since I work with refugees and asylum seekers and homeless people at York City of Sanctuary, I had many chances where refugees, asylum seekers ask me, for example, they need to talk. So I go and listen to them and I hear amazing things, like stories, amazing, unique stories of their own experiences, which the people are not aware of. So I think, well, that's very important. It's very important that the community which is hosting those refugees and asylum seekers know it, instead of thinking that those people, they have come over here just because they want to. No, it's not actually they want to. It is because they had no other choice. So the idea of the project, the Book of Refugees, it came from this, that we need to provide a platform for refugees and asylum seekers, even those who had experiences with refugees, even those who know any kind of story which they can share with the community. They are welcome to do it, which is important. And we are providing this platform in which all these kind of stories, poems, even pictures, anything actually that would tell, or in other words, make people aware of the situation, why they came here. So it's a chance actually for refugees to express themselves and also for the community to hear them, to be aware of them. In other words, it's like a bridge between the community and the refugees and asylum seekers.
Thank you. And of course, the project really needs contributions from refugees anywhere in the UK. Could you perhaps explain a little more about what the plans for the project are?
First of all, the call for contributions is still open. So it is. You can simply visit the project website on the University of York website. You just write the Book of Refugees and then you will get to it. And then you share your story. You can do that. And you can share with us lots of things. So yes, it is still open. As for the idea of the book, it was the first idea because we were thinking to collect the contributions of refugees and asylum seekers and then publish them in a book, like a hard copy book. But then we decided to move on to a website because it's cheaper. We could not get the funding we were looking for to publish a book. So instead we had the website, yeah. And the website, is easier to access as well and it's open to all.
As well as contributions via the project website, we also hope that you might want to contribute by appearing on this podcast, to read your poetry, stories, or tell us about your experiences. Ahmed, you have also contributed to the Book of Refugees.
Because I myself, I am a refugee. I came as a refugee to the UK 15 years ago. So I did share my contributions in the Book of Refugees. So for example, I put some of the poems that I have written. One of them is this, for example. It says, "In Baghdad, I always liked winter. I used to say it is a British weather. In Britain, I always pray for a sunny, warm summer. It reminds me of what I call today Iraqi weather." So, for example, this is one of the poems, very short poems, in which and this is related to my studies. I used to study English literature in Iraq. So, reading English poems and English literature, it was always used to put me in the mood of, dreaming of living in Britain. A dream that I never expected it would happen, but it happened. Yes, another poem that I've written is Home. It says, "Home is where you wake up and see your family with you under the same dome. Home is an oud perfume, a date palm tree, a sky blue, the smell of afternoon tea with neighbors, friends, and family. Home is playing football, barefoot in the street, climbing a tree to pick a treat, sit on the wall to watch sunset. This is what I know of home as far as I recall.
That's really nice.
Yeah, so these are, and there are some translations of poems, for example. Yeah, and of course there are other contributions actually that I can also read. One of the very beautiful poems, actually, it was written by, he's not a refugee actually, but he works with refugees. His name is Ambrose Mosiwa. And he says in a poem called The Man Who Ran Through the Tunnel, it says, when I heard how he ran across continents, over rivers, through forests, through deserts, and through tunnels, how could I fail to be inspired? It's very beautiful, actually. Yeah, and other calligraphy, some drawings. There is a song also by a famous Arab singer. He made it for refugees. Yeah, so there are many. There are interviews also with refugees from Ukraine, from Africa. So, yeah, if you have a look at this, it will be very important because you see that the book gives you this chance to know about this unknown world of refugees, of asylum seekers. What are their dreams? What are their aspirations? What are their fears? What are their experiences? It's very important, actually. And this project, actually, it kind of links with other research projects, like in psychology, for example, in political studies, in linguistics, and yeah, so it can be helpful to these kind of projects, like in human rights.
Yes, of course. And we also do intend to feature interviews with colleagues talking about their research and projects in related fields. While we're on the subject of contributions, so far the response hasn't been as great as we hoped for.
So this project actually is valid, is important, and it needs to, expand. It's very important that it expands because we do have lots of refugees here. So the only thing that we have now is that most of them, we did not actually expect that kind of, we were expecting more contributions, but we did not have the number of contributions we were hoping to get. And that's because refugees themselves are too, occupied with lots of, problems and things to worry about regarding their future, their situation, current situations, and things like that. So they are too busy in this case to kind of contribute. It's very important that we encourage them to contribute. That's really important because we need actually to learn from them, to hear about their stories. It's very important to raise awareness among the community about it.
Absolutely. Yes, and if you're listening to this and you'd like to contribute, please do get in touch.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Absolutely. So we hope this has given you a background to the Book of Refugees project. But before we end, I think we should acknowledge the contribution of our colleague, Dr. Lucia Aiello, who retired from the university last year, as without her efforts, the project would not have been so successful.
Also, without your help and without your contribution and without your efforts, this project would not be a success. So thanks to you and thanks to Dr. Lucia Aiello for all your great efforts.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. But I was a late arrival. You and Lucia had already got the project up and running by the time I got involved. We aim to upload a new podcast every 2 weeks, so make sure you follow us to get notification of the latest uploads. All that remains for me is to thank you for listening and that we hope you have enjoyed this first episode and that you come back and join us for future episodes. So until next time, goodbye.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.